Facebook group. So if you go onto the Facebook group and you click on you take your phone and you hover over the image, it will take you to a page that will bring it right up for you. So if you need a minute to go grab that, I'll go ahead and give you a second to go grab that so we can get started here. Super easy to use. Just hover like that. And there it is. All right, so I'm going to pull up my screen here. I'm going to share and you should be able to see the presentation. Let's get to screen share. Welcome in, Molly. All right, and then we're going to go into presentation mode. If at any time you have a question about anything that was shared, please stop me and let's have a conversation around it. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get started. So 6 personal perspectives. What is 6 personal perspectives? It's the foundational perspectives to propel you to the highest level of achievement. And this is one of my favorite classes to take. And I say take because Dick Dillingham usually teaches this class. And I have probably sat in this class at least 4 or 5 times with him, and it never gets old. I absolutely love it. And so it's a foundation to Keller Williams Realty, and they are part of the basic vocabulary and philosophy that we look into. And it deals with, come on, there we go. And it differentiates those who achieve at the highest level from those who don't seem to accomplish much. So what you'll notice sometimes there's realtors who seem to be doing everything, they're in everything, and they're ultra successful. And you're like, wait a minute, what am I doing differently? And it's understanding those 6 personal perspectives. And so defining those perspectives deal with mindset, attitude, and approach to life. And you can't see it, but I have this poster in my office that says, attitude is outlook based on past experience. Attitude will either attract people to you or repel them away. What is your attitude about? And so when we talk about mindset, that goes back to what you think and what you say, not just about other people, but about yourself. What are you thinking and saying to yourself? What are you thinking about your business? What are you saying about your business? And then how you approach life. So we're going to go ahead and dive into each one of these. And I'm going to apologize in advance. There are videos in here. However, they are working on the computer in the technology room. So we're not able to get in there and get on that one. So we have the courtesy of my laptop. And of course, because I'm showing it said it doesn't want to work. So let's just move on. Don't you just love technology? So defining the 6 personal perspectives. What you see in front of you are the 6 personal perspectives. Commitment to mastery, commitment to the 80-20 principle, moving you from E to P, make being learning-based the foundation of your action plan, remove your limiting beliefs, and be accountable. So let's look at what each one of these means individually. And I like to preference to people, what you see on this side of the spectrum can very well be affirmations. These can very well be things that you say and speak to yourself. So for instance, commitment to self-mastery. I am going to nail it. I'm going to master this. Commitment to the 80-20 principle. I'm going to focus on my big rocks. Moving from E to P. I am purposeful about breaking through my ceiling of achievement. Make being learning-based the foundation of your action plan. I am willing to be taught, and I always pursue learning. And that's evident because you guys are here. And removing your limiting beliefs, I unlimit my thinking and my success and be accountable. It's mine, I own it. Now, this must be important in order to have our top leaders teach this throughout Keller Williams. We also have people who are not a part of Keller Williams who also take this. So 6 personal perspectives must be something that's important to their business. So we're going to stop and pause for a second In case I didn't warn you, this is going to be an interactive class. And so, powerful perspective. Here's your challenge. How would you change? What would you do that you are waiting to get done because you think you will be here forever? And what we're going to do right now is think about 3 things you would like to accomplish in your life. It doesn't matter if they're now, it doesn't matter if they're a year from now, it doesn't have to be about real estate. I got one that's super crazy, I'll share with you all. But what are 3 things that you want to accomplish in your life? And you can go ahead and unmute and share. These things could be personal, these things could be professional. It's up to you. But I would love to hear from all of you since we have a small group, which I love. So go ahead, whoever wants to go first, unmute yourself and tell us 3 things you would like to accomplish in your life. Oh my gosh, so many people at once. Tiffany.
Okay, 3 things. One thing is I would like to list, so to sell 3 homes. Because right now I'm more comfortable on the buying side, so I want to list 3 homes. I would also like to plan a vacation for my husband and myself that I plan out completely myself, and unbeknownst to him, everything that we do is a surprise. And then a 3rd thing I'd like to accomplish is, let me think of another big thing. I'm still thinking on that 3rd one.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. So those are 2 that I have right now.
Okay. All right. Who else would like to share? Lincoln? Lincoln, it's always good to see you, sir. Okay. Can't hear Lincoln. Let's go with Zach. Zach, can you unmute and tell us 3 things you would like to accomplish in your life?
Okay, so my first one is probably, I don't know, it's my number 1 goal in life. That one's to be on TV. So that one I'm working on right now. I've been auditioning for RuPaul's Drag Race. So
Nice.
hopefully that one comes true soon.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my next one is to go out of the country. I've never went to another country before, so I would like to do that. And then for my 3rd one, I would want a job or like career where that I love doing, that is rewarding. I'm new to real estate still, so I'm like kind of get my like footing and bearing still. So hopefully this works out pretty well.
Awesome. Awesome. I like the first one. He said, I'm going to be on TV. I love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Miss Molly, you're muted. Here, let me see if I can unmute you here.
Oh, I'm unmute.
There you go.
Yeah. I lost my screen though with the questions.
Oh, don't worry. Did you look at the bottom of your screen? It should be down there. Can everybody see my screen? Okay. It should be down there, but I'll read it again for you. It says, what 3 things would you like to accomplish in your life?
So the first one, I would like to visit the Galapagos Islands.
Take me with you.
It's just so expensive. That's a big goal. Gosh, probably retire. I would like to retire a millionaire. I know that sounds crazy, but
not at all.
I want more zeros. Let's see. Gosh, I don't know. As far as real estate, I want to start selling homes. My goal is to sell at least 3, 4 a month. That's what I would like to do.
Beautiful.
I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. That's I like number 2, retire a millionaire. We got a couple of agents who've done that. And I'm like, every time I say share your secrets, they're like, it's literally not a secret. Yeah, it is. So awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. And yet, as we sat here and thought about that, how many of you thought in your head, I don't know if I'll be able to get there, or maybe this goal seems unattainable, or maybe you had an even higher goal that you didn't even mention because you think it's just way out there. Like retire a millionaire, that's an amazing goal. Yet how many people would not have even shared it because they think it's not attainable? And yet Zach is trying to be on TV. I love it. I love it. So that's what we talk about when we talk about setting goals. And once you know the goal, you create the path and trajectory to get there. And so let's do a reality check. We talked about what your goal was. How are you doing with that goal? So who would like to role play with me? Paula? Paula, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Go ahead.
Hey,
Had to answer
Paula.
a text. I'm sorry. Yes.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
So Paula, would you like to role play on some
Oh,
goals
sure.
today? Awesome. All right. So
Sure.
Paula, tell us, what is one goal you have?
One goal. One huge goal right now with COVID being such an impact on our lives is that my husband and I make a huge impact on our grandchildren's lives.
Okay. And how are you doing with that goal?
Better. We're seeing them more often. Of course, we all live pretty close, within a few miles of each other. So we're having them over. We're trying to get them off their electronics. Yeah, I know. The oldest is 10. So we have a 10, a 9, and a 7-year-old.
Okay.
10, 9, and 8. So we're trying to play games with them. We introduced them to a different domino game, 2 of the grandchildren this last Friday evening, and they loved it. So it
yeah,
was
we play competitive dominoes at my house. If you
Oh.
lose, you gotta walk the streets.
So that's one big goal, and I'll share another one. Sorry for the barking dogs. So again, COVID's been really hard on my husband's dental practice. So, we don't know how that's going to look for the future. So I would really like to be listing more so that he can retire maybe sooner than later. And we kind of have that cushion.
Okay.
And not have to make as many decisions regarding change in our life. So
how do you feel about where you are with those goals?
So I'll be honest, you are so inspiring, Shelyna.
Oh my gosh. It's too much pressure.
I love sitting in on your classes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Being here.
There's too much isolation now, and I think that's gotten to me. So I'm being very honest and not doing well with my real estate goals of really getting back out there. And we sold our house this past summer and also bought another home, which we love. And those were the 2 hardest transactions I've ever done in 20 years.
Yes,
So,
they always will be. The hardest is our own. Yep.
But we did it 2 years before that because we decided to downsize, and then we got the opportunity to move to some really good friends. So we moved again, close to some really good friends, and we love it here. But those 2 transactions really taxed me.
Okay.
So I'll be honest and say I'm having trouble getting back on track.
Okay. What do you think your future will look like if you do not achieve your goals, if you don't get back on track?
Won't have as much joy and happiness or peace, probably. So.
And yet you recognize where those holes were in your current business in a reality check. And so thank you, Paula, for helping me with that. And my question is for everyone: how often are we doing these reality checks? How often do we sit and take Paula, for instance, and say, I need a reality check. I live a few miles from my grandkids, yet how can I be more engaged and more involved? Or, okay, COVID is here, it's hit, it's not going anywhere. What do I do to readjust and reset my business to have success? And so this is a question anyone can answer. How do you think learning about and mastering these perspectives can positively impact the one goal that you want to achieve. And so Paula talked about her goal of getting her business back up. How important is it to learn about mastering the 6 personal perspectives to you? Oh, maybe it's not important. It's okay.
Are you talking to me, Shelyna? I didn't know if you were still talking to
Yeah,
everyone.
it's for
Okay.
anyone who wants to answer. Yep, it's open. And so Paula, how would you respond to that? How do you think learning about and mastering, so it's one thing to learn it, but it's another to master the 6 person perspectives will help grow your business.
It is important to me. I'll also give my age range. So I'm 60 plus, but I feel like I'm a very young 60 plus.
There you go.
So there's a little bit different outlook on life than when I began this at 40.
Right.
So I find myself, because I've had the lack of business, that it's really perplexed me. And we find a lot of our satisfaction and joy in our work if we're work driven, and I am.
Right.
So but wondering what to do in this crazy world. How much do I get out there, because I am in that 60 plus. Of course, haven't had a vaccine, don't know if I want to take it. Is it safe? There's so much to consider right now that it's overwhelming.
Okay.
And then how do I balance time with the grandkids?
Right. And so
I
think
do.
for a moment on this quote. Imagine for a moment your own version of a perfect future. And now take the memory of that perfect future and bring it here into the present and let it influence how you will behave from this moment on. And so going back to something that Zach said, if you're going to be on TV, your whole world now opens up to everyone, everybody out there, opinions that you didn't even ask for. Your world has now opened up. And yet now, if I take my future and bring it into the present, how does that influence my behaviors? How does that influence how I think? How does that influence how I conduct my business? Because can I be a millionaire real estate agent? I can, but do I believe that I can, if that's what I want? Can I retire with a bunch of zeros in my bank account? I can, but do I believe and think and know that my hand's cut off? It feels so weird with these backgrounds. I'm like, who am I pointing at? Do you believe that it can happen? And so when I look into my future and I bring my future to my current, am I doing everything and learning what I need to do? Am I learning? And Zach, I'm only hawking on yours because I just did a study on a young lady who was dealing with some issues after becoming a, what do you call it, a social media influencer. Am I preparing my mindset for what's to come? In real estate, am I preparing my mindset to close 4 transactions a month? Am I preparing my P&L statement, my bank account? Interestingly enough, people will spend money on what they want and beg for money for what they need. And so it becomes this conundrum where we make all this money, we had this huge goal, and now we don't know what to do with it. Or we spin, and we don't stop to say, wait a minute, I had a future I was preparing this for. And so that's some really good conversation. Any thoughts or ahas on when you think about your future and where you want your future to be? How would that look if you brought it into the present? Anybody want to share an aha on what you think about that?
Aha. I think that thinking of it that way about your future and how you bring it into the present really makes the reality checks, makes those really come into play of how you really have to have those reality check moments. And then also on the 6 personal perspectives, looking at all of those, they really tie into that last one or the 5th one, removing limiting beliefs. Because for myself, I'm similar to how you mentioned, Zach, I'm a fairly new agent as well. And a lot of the limiting beliefs that I have come from really just those other perspectives that, you know, I need to look at. And so I think that they're all really important in looking at the future and then having that reality check before you get there. Because
Right.
if we don't, we'll get to the future and still not be what we've set for our
Yeah.
future self. So
That's so
Good.
true. It's, you know, and I think about athletes, and when they're preparing to go pro, they're actually doing more in the preparation phase because they realize I have to get recognized because there's only so many positions. And so it's what I want my future to be. Am I prepping for it now? And that's what understanding these personal perspectives can help us do. And so thank you for sharing that. And let's talk about what defining self-mastery. And so high achievers understand any endeavor they choose to undertake is going to require them to master a certain number of things, including themselves. So when you commit to achieving self-mastery, you know your goals. Does everybody know their goals? If not, we can get to that. They know their strengths and their weaknesses, and they know how to work with both to seek and master the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to reach their goals. The road to mastery of a chosen subject is the road to mastering the basic of yourself as it relates to that subject. So only when you have achieved self-mastery can you develop and achieve mastery of a topic or task of your choosing. Could be real estate, could be planning for retirement, because you know where you can best utilize your strengths and where you need to bolster your weaker areas. So self-mastery. Self-mastery is a possession of great knowledge, skills, and habits. And I like to highlight habits. I like to harp on habits that make you the master of you. And so that's just what we talked about. You know your goals, you know your strengths, your weaknesses, and you know how to work with both. I want to emphasize habits because I think in real estate, what we find is people start, it's almost like a roller coaster ride. You know, back in New York, we used to go to, well, we would drive over to Jersey, the other side of the water, and we would go to Six Flags. Down here, I think y'all still call it Six Flags, but we call it Great Adventure. And so it's like when you get on a roller coaster and it starts out and it's like, okay, this is not bad. We're just going up and up. You don't look down. That's how real estate is. You get your license, you go to school, and all of a sudden you look over the side of that seat and see how far down it is. And that's when you get into a brokerage. And you're like, no. Can we start over? Let's go back. Take it back. Don't drop me. And then it drops you. And now your stomach is going through all of these ups and downs because you're like, do I have a buyer? I got a buyer. Oh, no, they're not pre-approved. Do I have a seller? Oh, they want to wait to sell their home. It is literally an emotional roller coaster that we go through. But until we build a habit of building a pipeline, what will happen is if someone falls out, we get upset. Oh man, I can't believe I just lost a buyer or seller. But if I got 10 of them in the pipeline and I lose one, okay, I'm gonna play mother hen. I'm gonna go find them and corral them back, but my world hasn't shattered because I planned. So mastering habits is so important. When you build a habit to lead generate, to give, and let me define lead generating for my purposes. Lead generating is a high level conversation about real estate. That's it. A high level conversation about, can I lead generate from Starbucks? Absolutely. Can I lead generate from the car dealership? Absolutely. Think of conversation with another person about buying or selling real estate. That's lead generating. So I want to break down the walls of anyone who says, I got a cold call, I got a door knock. I don't do any of that. If you choose to do it, I applaud you. But if you don't, master what your strengths are. If your strength is talking and networking, master that. How can I turn networking into lead generating? Because you can. And so that's where we want to take that. So in the book Outliers, I'm going to read you this quote. In the book Outliers, the author Michael Gladwell claims that the key to mastery in any field is roughly 10,000 hours of practice. According to his research, practice is more critical to success than ambition. intelligence, or natural talent. A commitment to true mastery will not be achieved by taking a class on the subject or even reading a few books about it, but rather by repetitive practice. In other words, time on task over time. Ooh, that's deep. That's deep. Because think about it. If anybody's ever had a major surgery, who do you want to perform that surgery on you? The person doing it for the first time or the one who's done it 10,000 hours? The person doing it for the first time is probably shadowing the one who's done it 10,000 times. The only way we can do that is by developing habits. So now let's piece it together. This part is where we're going to have a little break because the video is not playing. I don't know why it's not playing, so my apologies. I'm going to work with KWRI to find these videos and get them to you. But there is in the book, the pieces that he talks about, going back here, are practice scripts, take bold, and call your sphere of influence. Practice scripts, take bold, call your sphere of influence. Now, that's his from the video. How do we piece together yours? Let me see if they have the bigger, they don't. How do we piece together yours? So let's take a goal. I'm gonna take Molly's goal because I actually know a couple of people who've done that. I'm gonna take Molly's goal, retire with a millionaire. And I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna think about the people who were realtors who retired. I think they're retired, they're semi-retired. Their name is still out there. If I can remember their names, I'll tell you who they are. They're here in Denton. And so the goal, retire a millionaire. The next step is to identify your strengths and your weaknesses in order to retire a millionaire. So Molly, what would you say are some of your strengths? You're muted. You're muted, Molly.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Definitely a people person, networking and talking.
Mhm. And what would you say would be an area of weakness or growth opportunity?
Oh gosh. My family would say sensitive, get my feelings hurt easy.
Oh, okay, that's called being
I don't know
human.
if it's great in real estate.
You're totally fine. So with that being said, are you comfortable bringing up the topic of business?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you think about retiring as a millionaire, you're good with people, but what is a skill you think you need to strengthen in order to get more people to join you either in profit share or, because the couple that I'm referring to, they did it through profit share. So
Okay.
either through profit share or growing your real estate business.
Probably putting myself out there,
Okay.
being able to toot my horn, sell myself. That's probably going to be a big growing
Okay.
spot for me. Yeah.
So now that you're aware of these, we can create a plan to master prospecting. And so the couple that I know who is local, I cannot think of their name. It will come to me. I can see their faces. Their retirement plan was based off of profit share, which is basically people joining the brokerage and being profitable, but they joined under their name. And what that would look like is if you're good with people, but you're uncomfortable talking about yourself, what would we need to practice? Talking about ourselves. So that could be one part of the puzzle. Then maybe we focus on how do I attract people who are not licensed yet or who are productive cappers who have potential to cap. Maybe that could be your second piece. And then the third piece could be, okay, what does it take to, because this actually, the couple, they net $1 million a month. My apology, it's $1 million a month. So what do I need to do? What's that last piece to get me $1 million a month? Well, maybe it's, I need to end up talking to 40 people a month. Talk to 40 people about getting into real estate. And of those 40 people, 2 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them need to be cappers. In any area, they need to be cappers. That's how you take your puzzle pieces and put them together. You look at your goal and then you figure out what are the things that I need to hit this goal, but you dive deep with it. And Molly, I promise you, as soon as I can think of their names, they may actually be in here. Because I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but I will get it for you.
Okay.
So I can't play the video, my apologies. And so we have an exercise here. List 3 obstacles you think may hinder your achievement of the goal that you wrote. And I'm gonna pick on Zach for this one because I like his goal. So, and Zach, if you're uncomfortable talking about it, just say, hey, can I pass? But I like the goal to be on television. So can we dive deeper into that, Zach?
Okay.
So what are 3 obstacles that may be in your way to hinder you from this goal? And guys, I'm using this as an example, but it absolutely 100% relates to real estate. What are 3 obstacles?
I mean, the show I'm trying to get on is very competitive, so there's a lot of people, of course, trying to submit their auditions and get on the show. So that's one of them.
So competition, and do we have competition in real estate? Going on a listing
Yes.
appointment? Okay, all right. What else?
I guess kind of experience as well. I mean, I'm only 22 and you have to be 21 to get on this show. But a lot of the people that get on it have been doing drag for a long time.
Mhm. So it's mastering the skill.
Yes.
And saying, if I go on a listing presentation and I get the objection of, well, X, Y, and Z company said they'll list my home for 1%. How do I respond? I don't know how to respond unless I practice. And it sounds like this show is maybe looking for people who have a little bit of experience.
Yes.
Okay. What's a 3rd obstacle for you? He said nothing. I'm great with everything else. That was it.
I mean, maybe like I know it's expensive. I mean, like a lot of people take out like loans to like get things made for the show and stuff. So like I don't know, maybe like money. I don't know how much it would actually cost. Like they give you like a list of everything you need to take with you, but maybe just like the expenses to get there.
Yeah, that is huge. And yet, do we reach that same obstacle in real estate?
Of course.
100%. Because I've seen people who say, should I pay for leads? And they don't listen and they go and pay for leads and they've paid this company thousands of dollars a month and got 0 out of it. And now they have nothing left to invest in their business. Where if we go back and we look at the cost and we say, okay, do I know someone who is a great seamstress who I can work a deal with to get something made? Well, do I know someone who is great at doing education pieces and who can talk about home ownership? Maybe I can partner with my lender. Maybe I can partner with my lender to teach Aubrey here in the office. We'll teach an investment class. So maybe I can partner with vendors or partner with other people who do know what I need and know how to present it. So maybe that's Zach finding someone who's a seamstress who knows what he needs, but also knows what he's working with and says, you know what, this is what I'm good at. I'll help you, but I won't charge you the full price. I'm going to speak that into existence for you, Zach. I won't charge you the full price. So all of these, you got to think the biggest obstacles I hear from realtors is I don't know what to say. I don't know where to find the clients, and I don't have enough business in my pipeline, or I don't know what to do once I get them. The key to that is practicing. You have to practice it because every appointment you go into, you will probably face some type of objection. Maybe the objection is, I want to update my house, so I want to wait to sell. Or maybe the objection is, but my neighbor sold their house for $400,000 and I'm going to sell mine for $500,000. Okay. Or maybe the objection is, my sister's best friend's cousin's 3rd uncle who is removed from marriage, who divorced my aunt, is also a realtor. Shouldn't I just use them? When I master the skill of what to say, I'm going to walk into any presentation and feel comfortable. I'm going to walk into a Starbucks and pull a lead because I know what to say. When you know what to say, everything else becomes obsolete to you. And so, trust me, if Zach knew who his competition was, knew their skill sets and their weaknesses, he could play to their weaknesses and win any competition he has with them. You can do the same in real estate. When you study another brokerage and not talk bad about the brokerage, but come from a place of contribution to the seller. Yes, that other broker says that they're going to charge you 1%, but do you really know what you're getting for that 1%? I do. Let me help you discover it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So, and that's what we talk about when we discuss 80-20. And all of these obstacles are movable. Every single one of them can be moved out the way. Every single obstacle can be moved. I want you to remember that. Every single obstacle can be removed. Remind yourself of that every day. Every single obstacle can be removed. It's up to you to remove it. Do not rely on someone else to remove it for you. You may be stronger on your own than with their help. So keep that in mind. Any ahas when you think about the obstacles you have, moving those obstacles? What would your life look like if there were no obstacles? What ahas do you have around that? I just need one to shut me up so I can move on. Molly's like, look, I got your
Okay.
back. Molly said, let me unmute this right now.
I think I'll say one real quick. Kind of how you use Zach's example, like life obstacles and business obstacles are so similar. Because a lot of those that, applied to his life goal of being on television apply to my business goals as well, as obstacles. And so I like how you said every one of those can be removed though. And it's up to us, not from just hearing that from someone else, but really taking ownership of removing those obstacles. So.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All I needed was one. See, 80-20 principle. I love the 80-20 principle. And does anybody know what 80-20 principle means? So the 80-20 principle was discovered by Italian economist, I'm probably saying it wrong. I'm going to say his name wrong. Vilfredo Pareto, and popularized by Joseph M. Warren. And it has been reproven time and time again, but it states that 20% of our activities yield 80% of our results. 20% of the work gets 80% of the results. The best way I can think about it is take it to an athlete. They practice more than they play, but look at the results. Now, I know my Giants may be going to the playoffs, these poor things. I wish they would just lose and put me out my misery. But they're doing 20% of the work to get to 80% of the result, which could be a Super Bowl. Look how many games they have to get to just to win it. So think about your business. We have 24 hours in a day. Yet the most successful top agents say they lead generate for 3 of those 24 hours a day. The couple who I'm going to get the name from Molly, that retired millionaires, if you talk to them, they'll say we talk to 2 people a day, and they build a pipeline. 20% to get 80% of the results, that's huge. And so it's a predictable pattern. And if you haven't read Millionaire Investor, we have some here in the office that you can grab. Great read. And honestly, I used to give these to my clients who closed houses. I would give this to them as a closing gift and say, I'm going to follow up with you in 90 days so we can talk about this. Because once they become a homeowner one time, the thought of becoming an investor is a great opportunity for them. And so no videos because it won't work. Big rocks first. Oh, I love this. I love this. I love this. So when we talk about the big rocks, the reason why this jar is here is because imagine if you had a jar that you filled with, let's say you took the jar and you filled it with sand. And then you came and you tried to put rocks on top of the sand. Would you be limited on how many rocks you can put in there? Big time. But let's say I filled it with the rocks first, and then I poured the sand. Do I have a better opportunity to get more rocks in this time? Absolutely, because the sand will trickle into the little openings and the cracks. Anybody ever pick up sand with your hands and it just falls through your fingers? Now I'm talking about the beach. Thank you, Molly. I think you mentioned it. It's on my mind now. That's how our business is. If we focus on the big rocks, lead generating, follow up, negotiating contracts, closing the deal, lead generating, follow up, negotiating a contract, closing a deal. If we focus on those big rocks, you will make the money that you need to retire. Zach, you'll make the money that you need in order to provide for whatever outfit you need, transportation you need. You are in a career that has endless possibilities on income. But we have to do the 20% first. And the 20% doesn't have to be all day. Most top producers spend 3 hours a day on lead generating. 3, that's it. So focus on what matters and what should matter to you. Remember, lead generating is a high-level conversation about real estate. And it doesn't have to be 3 hours at one time. You can split it up. 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here, an hour here, an hour here. But those conversations are going to lead to get you the results that you need. Then we go even smaller by finding the vital few of the vital few. If I'm going to a network meeting, that's probably not going to be my 20%. That's going to be me building business relationships. That's going to be me just meeting new people. If you have not read The One Thing, it is a great, great tool. And this is one of my favorites. I had to learn how to do this. Make a success list, not a to-do list. And so I consider myself an athlete. I'm an athlete that needs to get her life together and stop eating carbs. But when you think about a goal, the one that they have here is running a marathon. But look at all of this stuff and then look at the one thing. Coordinate with an experienced running partner or coach. So you see all that stuff in the middle, but one thing is going to get you to run the marathon, and that's partnering with the coach. Think about what you have to do. I want to retire a millionaire. Well, there's a bunch of stuff you got to do in between, but what's the one thing that I should be doing? Partnering with someone who's already done it. Why? Because success leaves clues. And if success leaves clues, that means it can be repeated. It's repeatable. So create a success list, not a to-do list. Because when we create a to-do list, when we don't get something done, what do we do? Oh, I couldn't get it done. I guess I'll just move it to the next day. No, create a list that when I check something off, I get to celebrate. Yes, I did that. What can I accomplish next? This is going to be homework because I want to get through to the other ones. 411, you should be getting from your coach. And if you don't have a coach, I highly encourage you to get a coach. Think about any professional, athlete, business person. Oprah has like 6 or 7 coaches. The coach's job is to lead you to accomplish these goals. Tough conversations, tough conversations. I had a conversation with my coach who fired me, and I called him back and I was like, you can't fire me because I'm like a gremlin, I'm just gonna come back. So tough conversations to help you hit your goals. And a 411 is a part of that conversation. And this is what a 411 looks like. We have these, if you check your emails from, I believe Laura, when they were teaching the business planning class, they sent out one of these templates, but I think it went to everyone in the Market Center, not just the people who signed up. And so we do have a video that will show you how to break down this 411. And let me see, yep, here is a sample one. So first you talk about your annual goals, your career, your business, personal financials, and personal life. Then you talk about monthly. So monthly is what do I need to accomplish every month in order to grow towards the annual? Then you talk about weekly. What do I need to accomplish every week to grow to the monthly, to grow to the annual? So I'm going to piggyback on Molly's. If the agent who retired at over $1 million told me I need to go on 40 appointments a month, I'm going to panic. I'm going to lose my crap. No, I can't do that. That's a lot of people. Well, no, what the 411 says is break it down weekly. How many people is that a week? Okay, well, maybe that's 2, 4, 6, 8. That's 8 people a week. I can talk to 2 people a day. So are we looking at our goals on a big scale that I have to do this in 12 months? Or are we breaking it down to say, what can I do this week that by doing such, it will impact my goal for the month? And then you can always readjust this. I have to fill one of these out for my coach every week. Because as I grow, my goals grow, my goals change. I guarantee you once Zach hits his goal and he gets on TV, because we're going to proclaim it, his goal may change. He may get in there and see something totally different that he needs to do. These 411s, these work in careers, these work outside of real estate, which is why I ask you for your personal, your financial, your business, and your job. And there is one inside of the student packet. Time blocking, I hold near and dear to my heart, because a little bit about me that you might, make sure that you might not know was when I first got into real estate, I was dual career. I had a corporate job and I didn't know what time blocking was. When I left that corporate job, well, it wasn't corporate, it was teaching. When I left that job, I thought time blocking was real estate started when Judge Judy went off. I'm a law school dropout, so Judge Judy was my law school. And Judge Judy was on at 11 and 11:30. I quickly realized that I was not a successful realtor trying to start work at 12 o'clock. That was not how it was going to get done. Now, granted, my excuse was, well, everybody I know is teaching. They're not going to answer their phones. That was an excuse I created to watch Judge Judy. So here are the 4 components of a great schedule. Be consistent enough to set habits. So if I pull my calendar up, you're going to see Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I lead generate at a location with other agents. We go to a coffee shop. Sunday, you're going to see my accountabilities at that coffee shop. Wednesdays, you're going to see accountability calls. Fridays, you're going to see accountability calls. It's on my schedule. Nothing else. If a buyer or seller calls me and says, hey, I want to meet with you, but at this time, and it happens to be my Sunday accountability, I'm sorry, I'm already booked that day at that time. Be thoughtful and purposeful about the items you put on your calendar. Be thoughtful and purposeful. I teach my agents to go on social media and use it as a lead generating tool. But we don't just like someone's comment. We don't just say, oh, that was cute. We're intentional. Because if you're just going on there to like and to say, oh, that's adorable, look at the cute little baby, you're wasting your time. That's not lead generating, you're socializing. How can I take it out and cause a conversation to occur about real estate? Then always time block for your big rocks. So remember, we said lead generate, lead follow-up, appointments. I put appointments on my calendar, even if I don't already have them scheduled. And the reason I do that is because if someone calls me and says, hey, I want to go see a house, cool. I have this time, and this time. Which one works for you? So some agents will get it flipped and they'll say to the client, when would you like to see it? And now your whole schedule is thrown off because they picked the time that you were wanting to watch Judge Judy. And then if you erase, you must replace. If you adjust anything on your schedule, please replace it. If on, let's say for instance, I have a client in town and they just cannot move their time. And I know Thursday I'm supposed to be meeting my group for lead generating. And this client says, I have to see this house at 8 a.m. Well, if I erase lead generating at 8 a.m., I'm replacing it at another time on the same day. That's what we mean by when you erase, you replace. Protect your time. Protect your time. This has to be important to you. If it's not important to you, no one else will respect it. We teach people how to treat us. So protect your time and other people will also respect it. Build a bunker, which is why Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm surrounded by other like-minded people. Store provisions. We meet in a coffee shop. So I don't even drink coffee. That's the crazy part. But just the smell of coffee keeps me engaged. Sweep for minds. That means remove distractions. You know what the biggest distraction is to people? The same thing they use. This is my phone. I swear I'm not picking up my middle finger. The same thing they use for lead generation. There we go. The phone. You don't, there's a button on your phone that you can click that says do not disturb. And a lot of people don't use that feature. Use that feature. That's a landmine. And then enlist support, which is why I get together with a group of people so that we can all do the same thing at the same time. So what ahas do you have around the 80-20 principle? I just need one. And if you don't have an aha, that's okay. Some of the stuff you may have already known. I see Miss Sinadu has joined us. Hello, hello. All right, so
Hello.
how are you?
Good, good.
Good. I'm gonna move really quickly through this one, and then the second class, we'll move through the other three. So we do 3 up front and then 3 on the back end. And if you're joining us for the Facebook ads, that's gonna start here soon. I look forward to, oh wait, no, wait a minute. Facebook ads is at 1. Yeah, so y'all stuck with me. I don't know why my clock is off. Y'all stuck with me. All right, so moving from E to P. I love this one because I didn't understand it when I first heard this class. But moving from E to P means moving from entrepreneurial to purposeful. I thought I was an entrepreneur. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't get it because I am an entrepreneur. So this made no sense to me. And then I had to take a step back and listen. And so now every class that I go into, I go in pretending I know nothing because I want to relearn. And I was able to relearn this. And when you move from E to P, it's high achievers are always looking for the purposeful way. By doing this, they overcome the ceiling of their natural behavior. So we're looking for being intentional, is what I said. So that goes back to the social media thing. When you're on social media and your intention is to lead generate, then you just don't like someone's comment and say, oh, that was cute. You have to be purposeful in your intentions on social media. Asking a question that increases engagement. And social media is an algorithm. It is a computer generated algorithm. So some of you can have 500 friends on Facebook. You will never see all posts from all 500. You'll see the posts from the people that you interact with the most. And that means being more purposeful will help you gain the attraction that you need. And so if you notice, the fundamentals of being purposeful deals with coaching, consulting, and training. Is everybody in coaching on here? Some form of coaching? Okay. What about training? Oh, Molly said no, that's okay. What about training? How do you guys feel about training? Some people do it, some people don't. I'll see some people not do it, and then when they need it, they panic, like filling out a contract. Oh my goodness, I got a seller and I don't know how to fill out a listing. And what I say to them is, would you want to hire an agent who doesn't know what they're doing, who's never practiced their craft? So we have to think about that and be purposeful with whatever we do. And I wish this worked. I'm so sorry. These videos. So here's how you move from E to P. You write your goals and you focus on the 20%. You ask, how can this be done? And then you ask, are there different, better ways to do it? This is where people get stuck. They feel like their way is the only way to do it. And it's not. There's so many different ways that this one thing can be done. So the next step is attend training that teaches you how to get where you want to go. Attend training that teaches you how to get where you need to go. And identify mentors and people who have done it. Oh, this is my favorite. Molly, you know what? Let me look up this name because it's driving me crazy. Let's see. Gosh, what is the name? of the family in Denton. That is the $1 million a month profit earners. We'll get that back in a minute. That is who I would have a conversation with. Find out who has done it. That should be your mentor. And here's a mistake I made about mentorship. I mentally adopted people as a mentor. That's probably the craziest thing that I've ever done, was mentally adopted someone as a mentor. Oh, I like you, you're my mentor. That's not how it works. What I've slowly discovered is that person needs to know that they're your mentor. And you need to know that they're your mentor. So there needs to be a mutual understanding and a goal. So boom, you earned $1 million in a month. I've never met someone who's done that. I want to know how to do it. Can you teach me? Can you guide me? That's how you set up a relationship with someone. And there is a difference between a mentor and a coach. So make sure you identify who that person is to you. Look for at least 3 people who've done it. Who are the 3 people? She said it, McKissick's, there we go. Whew, this was gonna drive me crazy. It's the way you spell the name is McKissacks. McKissacks. They've actually done, they did a video with Dick Dillingham for our market center. So you may be able to find that on MyKW. But Linda is her name, and I cannot remember her husband's name, but last name is McKissick. You type that in anywhere and you'll see.
Okay.
Then you have a system. Your system for time blocking, system for practicing scripts. I believe you should be practicing minutes and you're in and out. Shouldn't take an hour. I mean, 15 minutes might be too long, but you get in, you get out. Create success lists or checklists. Make sure that the system you install works consistently and efficiently. Make sure you have a system in place that is consistent and efficient, and then measure what you do. That's what your coaching calls are for. Measure what you do every week, bi-weekly, monthly. That's what the 411 was. I had to fill out one of those. I have to fill out that and financial sheets for my coach every single week. Why? Because if you're not tracking where your money is going, it's going to go. So have an accountability partner. Who is that person that can say, hey, you're supposed to be lead general right now. How'd that go? And you're busy watching Judge Judy as my accountability reminder. So I'm going to skip the aha from that one because I want to get to, we have just 3 more and I can get these done. Being learning based. This, as a former teacher, I find this one very important because I notice as we get older, we feel like we can't learn anything else. And anything that someone wants to show us is obsolete because we know it all. That's just what I've learned from some adults. But a learning-based individual is an individual who has made the decision to use effective learning as the foundation piece for their action plan to develop their life. In short, it's a person who uses learning as a foundation for their actions. It's basically you coming in here to this class and saying, what 1 or 2 things that I take from here to move on? I taught a session last week to a group of realtors on how to use a buyer and seller's guide that was created. So in there, I gave them hundreds of ideas. And all I kept hearing was, oh my gosh, that's a lot. I can't do all that. It's overwhelming. I said, pause, time out. No one said you had to do it all. Take 1 or 2 things and implement that. Once you've mastered that, then move on. And so every learning situation, know for doing sake, this is where I see agents fall off the most because what they're not doing is learning before they get the client. They're practicing CMAs for the listing appointment they have and panicking versus knowing how to create a CMA before you even have the client. Or panicking doing a listing presentation or filling out the documents because you've never practiced. You have to always come into understanding trivial pursuit leads nowhere versus higher self-actualization. And knowing for doing sake is the ceiling. I'm only doing it because I have a buyer, but I'll never work on anything for sellers. Well, somebody wants to list their house and it's a hot market and I know I'm going to get multiple offers. I have no idea how to do it. That's when you break through that ceiling. Oops. Then we talk about the 4 levels of competency. I love this. You should be asking yourself this question every week. Unconscious incompetence. We don't know what we don't know. Then you have conscious incompetence. We now know what we don't know. Then you have conscious competence. Now we know. And then we have unconscious competence. Now we just do it without thinking about it. That's real estate. Number 1 was you before you got licensed. Number 2 was you getting into real estate, signing it with a broker. Number 3 is you getting transactions, 1, 2, or 3 under your belt. And number 4 is after you've worked 5 or 6 transactions, you can teach it to someone else. Okay, so that's how we go through it. So high achievers reach their goals by making training, education, and self-development the foundation piece of their action plan. I am huge on self-development. Developing yourself in any area that you feel you need to develop in is important. It's not just about real estate. For me, self-development was going back and getting a PhD in neuropsychology. That's self-development. Why it might not have anything to do with real estate right now, it does, because it studies how people think. And do buyers and sellers all think differently? Absolutely. There's agents on the other end that sometimes I'm like, do you need a psychological evaluation? Because what you just did was absolutely crazy. Thank you, Paula. So good seeing you.
Thank you, Shelyna.
My pleasure. Can't watch that one. So here are some curriculums. You guys can access these curriculums in MyKW. You go into MyKW and you click on a link, they're all there. So we talk about launch is when you first get started and you have you have less than 4 transactions under your belt. Growth is when you have 4 to 7 or 8. Achievement is when you're at 8 because you've probably capped by then. And then after 8, we have training for all different levels. And so here are the different books. I really encourage you to get familiar with the first 4. Why? Because the first one is going to show you how to set up your business, MREA. MREAI, which is Millionaire Real Estate Investor, Flip and Hold, to me are a complete package. Because I can tell you, Richardson right now is on fire when it comes to flips and investments. I've seen more properties in Richardson come on the market that have been flipped than any other market I've ever seen. They're buying these houses, coming in and totally remodeling them. Now, do I have a lot of clients who are first-time investors and flippers? You better believe it. And they know absolutely nothing. So the first gift I give them is the book. The book is a guide to help them. How do I flip? How do I know my numbers? I had one investor who said, I have to list at this price in order for me to make money. And my response was, it will not appraise for that price. So I can't list your home because I don't take listings that sit on the market. I take listings that sell. Got the listing, he gave the listing to another agent and it expired. So you call me now and you're saying, okay, well, I want to list at your price now. No, it's not my price. It's what the market is telling you this house is going to sell for. You have a power line in the back of your house, a brand new power line that was just put in that is massive. What do you think is going to happen to your property value? So while you get a lot of people who come out and see the house and you showed no pictures of the power line, what do you think the biggest complaint was? The power line. Well, if he'd have stepped back and came from a place of learning, he wouldn't have had to go through the whole process of being inspired and relisting. He lost money. Because remember, you get the first month as a freebie. Then after that, the mortgage company wants that money. So he lost money. He wanted to sell in 30 days and that didn't happen. Did not happen. And so it's important that you educate yourself And you don't have to be an investor to read the book. And the one thing, I actually have it right here. Y'all, it took me 5 years to read this book because it didn't have enough pictures. And I'm just telling the truth. It did not have enough pictures. I can't get it in there. I don't know why I have this background, because this background is going to drive me crazy. I'll figure it out. But the one, oh, there it is. The one thing, let me move cautiously. And I said, it don't have enough pictures. And they were like, weren't you the English teacher? I said, exactly. It doesn't have enough pictures. I need more pictures. But it is truly the book to help you break down what's important and why. Max coaching is a higher level of coaching that you can get into when you feel like you're ready for the next level. And it is a coaching that comes with an upfront fee. So you have the benefit of being in the Market Center where you don't pay for your coaching upfront. Then you have Max coaching. This is a higher level of accountability outside of your Market Center. I have a Max coach. And the one that he thought he fired me, but we talked this morning. The one who thought he fired me was a Max coach. And so we also have KW Connect. That is where this material comes from that you can go in and get all the videos and the trainings that you need. So when you think about your goal for learning in Keller Williams, does anybody have a goal for elevating their career outside of just being an agent? And that's okay if you don't.
Mine is going to be the training.
Tell me more about that.
Taking in all the training that KW offers so that I can be successful.
That's good. And they have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of training opportunities. Let me show you a list that I wrote just this morning of all the training content and videos I got to get out to my group. Oh, that's just the beginning. You know what? I'm so done with this background. There we go. Training. This is just one piece. I quit. That's just one piece of the training. So I say that to say, focus in on what you need and dive deeper on that. And let the other stuff be icing on the cake. So if my goal is to pick up 6 listings, because I want 6, if you want to close 4, I would say pick up 6. So if I need to pick up 6 listings, what is a training that I really need to focus on? That would be lead generating, lead conversion for sellers, marketing the home, getting the home sold. I need to know all of that before I can walk in front of the home. How do I even run comps? How do you run a comp on a property in the Richardson area? Now it's becoming easier because they have more, but how do I run comps on a property that has no other houses that look like it? They went in and they literally ripped this house down to the framing and started all over. How do I comp that? So when you understand what you need for the moment, it will help you be successful for the future. So I love that. I'm a big, big training person. That comes from education. I love it. Anytime I can be in the classroom, some of it's avoidance, but anytime I can be in the classroom, I love it. Any ahas or thoughts off of that? All right, we got 2 more to go. Removing limiting beliefs. Took me a while to grasp this one. High achievers remove beliefs from their thinking that hold them back. And this is anytime someone uses statements like, I think, or I'm not sure, I might get the listing, maybe I'll get the buyer, I don't know. That's a limiting belief. And, oh, no, Jackie Ellis. And so removing limiting beliefs starts with recognizing that as a limiting belief. And sometimes we don't even recognize it because we're so used to saying these things. I'm scared to talk to people. Why? There's something deeper there. And if you think about it, a lot of our limiting beliefs as adults come to us because of events that happened to us when we were kids. It's so deep. It's deeper than we think. An experience happened to us. And when that experience happened to you, your brain went into protection mode. And it says, oh my goodness, if that happens again, I got to protect you from it. So now you get into real estate and someone tells you to cold call. Someone tells you to call expireds. It's the first thing that people who don't like the cold call do. Oh, I can't do that. Well, you ask them why? I'm afraid of rejection. That rejection didn't just happen when you got your license. There was something deep rooted that only you would be able to discover that led to you being rejected, and you didn't like the feeling of it. And so now your brain is like, oh, wait. You got to call strangers. They're going to judge you. They're going to think negative things about you. They're going to hang up on you. They're going to say, no, I don't want to work with you. They're going to cuss you out. All of these beliefs go through our head, and we haven't even picked up. We don't even have the phone numbers yet. So can anyone think of a time in your life when you had a limiting belief you needed to remove? And it could be even now. Does anybody have a time in their life you had a limiting belief that you needed to remove?
I would say when I was younger, I used to always think I was like, well, people would tell me I was shy and quiet, but then when I got to high school, I started doing speech and debate, and that was something I had to overcome. But then once I started doing it and I realized I was kind of good at it, it kind of just started going away, and that limiting belief just over time disappeared. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be worried about talking to strangers or calling random people because, I mean, what's the worst they can tell me?
Oh, I love that. What's the worst they could say? They tell you no, they get you off the phone quicker to somebody else. Yes, that is absolutely correct. But think about how far back that went for you. That went back to childhood. And then you had to break out of it in high school. And now that leads to your success in real estate. Because if you'd never discovered that, if you'd have held on to that and went through high school and not have addressed it, you would come into real estate and never pick up that phone. You'd be terrified to pick up that phone, which is where a lot of people are. They don't want that word no to them is scary. The word no is terrifying to some people. They don't want to hear it. They're terrified to hear it. Where I have other people, they're like, bring it on. I'll call 2 hours and I'll call expires. I don't care. So what, they're going to say no. Just get me off the phone faster. So Zach is absolutely correct. When you recognize it, recognizing it is the first thing. When you recognize it, then you can understand how to address it. My limiting belief was exactly the same. It was, I didn't like cold calling. Why? Because I didn't want to be rejected. Why? Because there were experiences in my life that led to rejection that my brain says, oh, we got to protect you. And I didn't realize it until I hired a transformational coach, who was a max coach, who made me go back to those situations and think about it. And it was like, oh my goodness, I did not connect it. No way in the world would I have connected that incident to calling the FISBO. No way. I mean, I still don't want to call him, but just saying. So definitely recognizing it. And limiting belief is easy. But here's the thing. Here's where limiting belief kicks in every single day. Every day that you get up and you get ready to do real estate, you have this little voice that says, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't do that lead gen activity. Zach, I guarantee you there's going to be someone, something, some voice that's going to say, well, maybe you shouldn't do this. Maybe being on TV may be too much. Maybe, no, it's too much competition, too much money involved. That's a limiting belief. Versus saying, I can, I will, I must, watch me. And so one of the things that I tell people is affirmations are a way of breaking through limiting beliefs. And I didn't believe in affirmations at first. And I'm like, look, if I'm gonna talk to myself and answer myself, we got some deeper problems. But affirmations are what you tell yourself. You ever tell yourself, oh my gosh, I'm tired. And then you just started feeling tired because you told your brain you're tired. Versus saying to yourself, today I'm going to get a listing. I hear people say, I might get a listing. No, I am going to get a listing. I am going to retire a millionaire. Tiffany, I am going to start my son's YouTube channel. Versus saying, well, you know what? I don't know if I started, and then what if people judge, and then what if this now? It's a belief to stop you from moving forward. And anything that stops you from moving forward, you got to stop and address it. You have to address it. And not until you address it will you be able to move past it. That's what we mean by breaking through. That requires you to talk to yourself every day. record your affirmations. My clients have to record their affirmations every week. If it's new or if it's changed, they have to record it and play it to themselves every morning. Not just once a day, but every time a limiting belief pops up to make them feel they can't do something, you play that recording. Because it's a reminder that the only thing stopping you from being where you want to be is you. It starts and ends with you. I don't care who the producer of the show is. I don't care who the writers are. I don't care who is the, if you put your best foot forward, meaning you lead generate, you follow up, you prepare, there's nothing that can stop you. And do not allow yourself to even begin the conversation to think, I can't do that. Should not be a part of your vocabulary. And then one of my favorites, but most scary, is being accountable. When I first got into real estate, I met a lot of victims versus people being accountable. Victims are people who say, it doesn't really work. That's not gonna work. They don't seek reality. Life happens to them all the time. They blame other people. They have personal excuse. Some of the personal excuses you could see is nobody told me. And they wait and they hope that something happens. You can't wait and hope in real estate. You got to go and get it. You have to have a sense of awareness. What is the situation? Seller wants to sell their house. You have to have clarity. Why do they want to sell their house? I got this. I can help them sell their house. That's owning it. Where is your energy and your focus? Number 3, protect your energy and your environment at all costs. If you have people in your environment who are telling you that you cannot do something, I don't care if you want to climb the Eiffel Tower. If that is your goal, baby, let me get you the parachute in case you fall. Do not surround yourself with people who limit you from doing what you feel you can do. And there's a little showstopper. And so you want to know, what is your responsibility? Hi. And what do you own from that responsibility? What are the possibilities? Finding solutions. There's a solution to everything out there. Some solutions just haven't been discovered yet. But there's solutions out there. And what role do you play in that solution? And then having an action plan. And so when we have someone who doesn't seek reality, the way to overcome it is, what do I need to be aware of? This is real life. Real life is, if I don't go and lead generate, I won't have clientele and I'm gonna be broke. And I'm sorry, but you cannot pay light bills with a smile. You cannot tell the electricity company, but I got a pipeline. I got a closing 2 days after y'all supposed to terminate. Hold on, it doesn't work. I know some people who tried it, it didn't work then. And instead of blaming other people, take ownership for it. You could say, well, nobody taught me how to do a CMA, versus saying, how do I go out there and learn how to do a CMA? Practice it and find the resources to help me do it. You can have personal excuses or you can find solutions. One of the things, when I used to teach middle school and high school, I would always tell my students, before you come to me with a problem, I want you to have thought of 3 solutions for it. Because I'm not going to answer every question for you. And as you grow up in life, no one should be answering every question for you. There has to come a point of self-discovery. So when you come to me with a problem, let me hear the 2 or 3 solutions that you had in mind, and we'll work through the rest together. Now, there may be some stuff that you're just like, I have nothing. Well, let's talk about resources we can use to find it. And then wait and hope for something, which is what I get a lot of the new realtors say, I just want business to fall in my lap. It will, if you put in the work in the beginning. Get on with the show. There's an entertainer, his name is Sean Combs. People know him as Diddy. I'm not a fan. My family personally knew him, and I'm just some things I don't think he's an ethical man. But he has this saying. He said, I earned the right to be lazy. And I'm like, huh? How do you earn the right to be lazy? He said, I did all this work so that I can hire other people to work and I can sit back and do nothing. That's retirement, Molly. That's his way of saying retirement. But he was still working. He said, I can go on vacation for a whole year if I have to. Why? Because I have other people who are going to work. That's where my mindset is. I need to earn the right to be lazy. I cannot come into this and be lazy. You just can't. You have to come into this saying, what do I need to learn? How fast can I learn it? Who's got the resources? Who can I link up with as a mentor? And let's go. That's how you grow. Being a victim versus being accountable, we talked about this. You own it, find solutions, and get on with it. And then, oh, I can't watch that video. And let's talk through who has an issue or a problem you are struggling with right now. Now, if it's a psychological issue, problem, we're going to get you medical help. But real estate world, who has an issue or problem that you're struggling with? You get 2 minutes to complain. Who doesn't want to complain? I got my timer here. Anybody want to complain today?
I guess the problem I'm running into is I've been getting buyers and like I always stay on top of them, but the thing is like they don't put in the work themselves to like get things done. And that kind of like frustrates me because it's like we could have had like so much done already if you would have just done what I asked you to do already.
Welcome to real estate. Give me an example of a buyer that you've had who was supposed to do work and didn't put the work in to move forward. Give me an example.
So I have this one buyer who wants a 4-unit multifamily home, kind of like as an investment.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been telling them to get pre-approved so we can put in an offer because those go really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep like finding them too. And I'm like, hey, this one just got listed. I'm like, but it already has offers on it. And I'm like, I can't do anything until you get pre-approved so I can put in like an actual like offer for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like at the point now, I'm just like, you know what? You can just come to me whenever you're ready. I'm not going to put any more effort towards you. I'll work with like my other clients.
And so what if you actually submitted their offer only for the sellers to come back and say, where's your pre-approval? Would that then light a fire under them to get more serious, or going back and having that conversation about their motivation? Because sometimes people think they want to be an investor, but they're not really motivated. The same any buyer. They want to buy a house, but they're not really motivated. So have you gone back and had a conversation with them about their motivation?
I think I have, because I remember asking them, I was like, do you like have experience with owning a property like this? I'm like, are you ready for that? I'm like, did you want to start off smaller with maybe like a duplex or something? But they were pretty set on the 4-unit, and I was like, okay.
So how about this? Let's say you were that family, and I'm you. The first question I'm going to say is, so Zach, I've shown you and presented you with 3 or 4 of these properties that you said met your criteria and that you said you would purchase if it popped up. But yet not, we don't have the pre-approvals to move forward. Are you sure this is something that you want to continue to pursue in terms of purchasing? And so Zach would be them.
Yeah, I'm just still thinking about it. I just need to turn in all my paperwork and everything. I've just been really busy.
And I absolutely understand that. And part of being an investor does require a lot of time. And so I understand that you're interested in being an investor, but do you think that now is the right time for you to jump into that, since you're so busy, you're not able to get the financing where you want it to be?
I might be a little bit too busy right now, actually, now that I think about it.
Okay. And so the lender has informed us that there are just 4 documents that they need you to submit. What would need to happen in order for you to get those documents submitted? Or do you feel like you want to submit those documents at all?
I'm not really sure what's holding me back, honestly.
Okay. In fact, this is not uncommon for someone making their first investment purchase. So here's what we can do. I'm going to keep on searching for properties, and I'm going to go ahead and send those properties over to you just so you can see how the market is continuing to improve. But before we can go out and take a look at any of these properties, the owners of these properties have made it clear that they're only willing to look at full complete offers. Now, in the case that an owner will take an incomplete offer, we can go ahead and submit that, but I want to warn you of what's going to happen. If we submit an incomplete offer that does not include your pre-approval, we will not get that offer accepted. And why? Because experience has shown me that if I have a product that I want to sell and the buyer has not demonstrated that they have the capacity to buy it, I'm going to move on to the person who does. And I know you have the capacity to buy it, but they don't. And I want to look out for your best interests. So is it okay if I just keep you on a search, and when you're ready, willing, and able, then we can move forward with submitting offers for you?
Yes, that's fine.
Excellent. So now you keep them on an email drip campaign, and you move forward. You follow up with them twice a week, which is, hey,
Mhm.
just checking in to see if you've seen anything you'd like to go take a look at, or hey, just checking in to see if you were able to get those documents over to the lender. No rush, but just wanted to keep you in the loop. Interest rates have gone up. Just wanted to keep you in the loop. We have less properties available on the market. That creates a sense of urgency for someone.
Okay.
So I have situations all the time where buyers won't do that. They won't submit the paperwork. Then my next question to them is, are you sure you're ready? Because they say they're ready, but are they sure they're ready? That's a good, really good example. Thank you for bringing that up. Anybody else have something they're struggling with? And that's what sellers too. Go back and have that conversation again. Because some of them think they're ready, but they're not. Any other questions on that one? Thank you, Zach. That was a good one. Awesome. And so accountability, the people in Mo's box, Mo Anderson, she's a legend here. So remember we talked about holding ourselves accountable with coaches. Mo had 4 at the time this was written in 2017. Gary Keller had 6. No, Gary Keller had 8. One that Mo had a financial advisor, accountability person, spiritual accountability, physical accountability, and a physical is a fitness trainer or coach, and business. And so think about your life. Do you have someone in every single one of these boxes to hold you accountable? If not, maybe it's time to start looking forward to who can hold me accountable. And so that's where I want you to just take a minute and write down these boxes: financial, spiritual, physical, business, anything else you can think of, personal development. I have a personal development. Do you have someone in each one of those boxes? If not, can you think of someone that you can put in each one of those boxes? All right. So here's the conversation that you should be having with that accountability person. What was your goal? How did you do? How do you feel about it? And based on how you did, what is your goal? And what do you need to do now? So those are the conversations. It's not a coffee meetup. It's we need to hold each other accountable. And then the conversations that you should be having with your career growth initiative, AKA your coach, are how many appointments did you have? How many listings do you have? How many listing appointments did you go on? How many contracts do you have? And what is your GCI? If you say 0 to any one of these, that's where you stop and focus on your growth and development. All right. So that was the bottom line of it. What ahas do you guys have? Thoughts, comments, suggestions, confusions? Was this helpful to anybody? I just need one person to say it was helpful, and that will make my day. Or just
It was
It was
helpful
very
for me.
helpful.
Very helpful.
Helpful for me as well.
awesome. Awesome.
Yep. Good.
And it's something that we don't really stop and take a look at. We don't, I know our region teaches this, but we don't really stop and think about accountability. Am I doing 80-20? Am I focused on my goals, or am I waking up and living day to day? Whatever happens in real estate today just happens. Am I time blocking? Am I linking to those people who I think can help me get to the next level. That's becoming huge now. And so taking a step back, ask yourself these questions every quarter. Every quarter, you should be reassessing your business. Did I hit the goals that I needed to hit? If not, who are my mentors that are helping me? Who are my accountability partners? Am I focused on 80-20? Am I focused on self-mastery? And you will experience success. Any questions for me? Well, I appreciate you guys.
I have one question. I missed out on the 4 books that you said that we should read. I got MRA, but I didn't get the other ones. What were those?
I'll go right back. Hold on one second.
Sorry.
There no, you're fine. The Millionaire Real Estate Investor,
Okay.
Flip and Hold. So flip is for people who are buying those properties and then turning them for profit, and then hold are for people who want to be landlords.
Okay. And shift, what is shift about? Because I was hearing about that one. What is that? That's something for a new is that something for a new realtor?
No, shift is for market change. So as you know, here, and I have a copy of it up here somewhere. Shift is currently what we're going through. And so when our market changes, that's considered a shift.
Okay.
And it tells you, so back in 2007, 2008, our market took a turn for the worse. That wasn't the first time, but many people didn't know what to do. Shift was written to show you how to take your business and maximize it, 10x it. So when that shift happens, you don't end up either A, getting out of the business altogether, or B, suffering severe financial loss.
Okay. So changing your mindset or changing your way of business basically on the economy.
Correct. How do I
like looking at short sales when the markets or whatever, something. Okay. All right. Awesome.
Shift is a great book for all levels. The people who normally would read Shift, not normally, most of the people who read Shift are those who are going through an experience that we're doing right now and have never been through it before. So that could be, we had agents who got into the business maybe 2009 and they didn't experience the lows of it. And when COVID hit, we had to shift. We had to shift our business. And this book became beneficial to them because it showed them how to do that and still stay productive.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. Absolutely. All right, guys.
It was great.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Sorry I couldn't get the videos playing. And if you join me on the Facebook ads, I guess I will see you in 30 minutes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for the class.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you for being here. Best of luck in everything.
Yes, thank you, Shelyna.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Bye-bye.